Thank you. At this time, you may be seated. Good morning. My name is Ryan Rush. I'm the principal here at South Middle School, and on behalf of the staff and students here at SMS, I'd like to welcome all of you to our 39th annual Veterans Day program. Veterans and first responders, this day is for you. It is a day where we thank you for your service, and it is also a day where we teach our students of your sacrifice. Speaking of sacrifice, I want to highlight two gentlemen that we lost within the last year. Their names, Jackie Williams and Charlie Crabtree. Mr. Williams was a longtime committee member who donated money and displays to our program. And Charlie Crabtree was the engine and the workhorse behind this program for over 30 years. Miss Thea Bibbs, a Bronze Star recipient today, she gave a commemorative coin to all veterans as they walk through the Saber Guard. The medal says, recognition, memory, and honor. And it has all of Charlie Crabtree's branches in which he served. Faithfulness, devotion, unselfishness. That's who Charlie Crabtree was. Miss Thea Bibbs, would you stand, please? I want to thank you, ma'am. Again, Miss Bibbs was a Bronze Star recipient. At this time, I would like to take a moment of silence as we remember these men. Thank you. I'd like to recognize our distinguished guest on our stage at this time, and I'm going to go from left to right. First, our guest speaker, Colonel Jim Smith. Mayor Steve Austin. Cadet Battalion Commander DeVitro. Judge Executive Brad Schneider, and our Henderson County School Superintendent Margana Stanley. At this time, Mayor Steve Austin and Judge Executive Brad Schneider would like to say a few words to our veterans.
Thank you, Mr. Rush, and thank you for all of you being here today. Thank you to our veterans for all you have done and for all you do. A lot of these folks are still in our community and do great service work. I want to just recognize one group, and that's the American Legion Honor Guard. Would you please stand for a second, please? These folks are in our community every day. They're doing services. They organize the Memorial Day in the park crosses. They work with they have a burial detail that serves our fallen veterans. They're just good folks that are former veterans, former are now citizens in our community, and they give back every day. So thank you for that, very much appreciated. And thank all of our veterans for your service. I'm always just glad to be, happy to be at South Middle School on Veterans Day. What a great group of students that we have, including the band, the choir, and all others. And one message for the students that's very important to me, and I want it to be very important to them. Don't vape. And I'm going to tell you why. We've got people in Henderson, we've got young people in Henderson that because of vaping have lost up to 85% of their lung capacity. Now what does that mean? It means they can't breathe. It means they can't walk a block without getting out of breath. It's a very serious situation, and I'd ask you for your strong consideration, don't vape. Thank you very much.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to be asked to participate in the very best Veterans Day ceremony that I'm able to take a part of. You know, a lot of people confuse Veterans Day. They think it's about celebrating war, and we know it's not. War is hell. And the people who have lived it know that better than any of us. Veterans are often the first to pray for peace. But the fact that they are willing to step in harm's way for all of us is what we're celebrating. Not that they have done it, because actually very few veterans ever end up in combat. But the fact that they are all willing to defend our freedoms, to defend the liberties that we enjoy, and to defend the bedrock ideals on which this country is built is why we're here today. And no matter who they are, when they enlist in the military, they take an oath. And here's that oath. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to the regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. It is an oath without an expiration date, a pact veterans keep until they breathe their last. Their loyalty to the defense of liberty, that willingness to put themselves in harm's way, to protect us all and uphold all the ideals that form this great country is what we hear today. We are lucky, I am lucky to be in the presence of such men and women. To all of them here this morning, I say sincerely, thank you. Thank you.
Every year, we have a writing contest. This year, we had 3 contests. Our 6th grade had a poem contest. Our 7th grade also had a poem contest. And our 8th grade had a narrative essay contest. At this time, I would like to introduce Superintendent Margana Stanley as she recognizes the top 3 winners in each category.
I could never understand what it would be like to defend our country, to defend our freedom. Great-Grandpa John was the one. That's what you can see. He left his house, his kids. He brought no more with him. He was definitely not as grim. Those are the words from one of the 6th grade students at South Middle School that we will recognize today. Although we do not, many of us, understand what it takes or feels like to defend, we are all very appreciative of our veterans. So it is with great pleasure for me today to be able to recognize the students in the winning poetry classification. When I call your name, if you will meet Mr. Rush to the side of the stage to get your trophy. 6th grade, 3rd place, Brady Galloway. 2nd place, Emma Rutledge. And 1st place for the 6th grade poetry writing, Ava Lucas. The 7th grade winners at South Middle School, 3rd place, Jacob Flores. Second place, Xavier Johnson. And 1st place, Bo Hazelwood. Eighth grade winners for narrative essays, 3rd place, Mason Caton. Second place, Jocelyn Sugg. First place, Brooklyn Hayden. Congratulations to all of our winners. It takes a lot of time and research and persistence to create the pieces of writing that they did. Thank you, Mr. Rush.
And now, the choir, under the direction of Randy Wilkerson, will sing That is our choir, again, under the direction of Mr. Randy Wilkerson, and our band performing today. Our South Middle School band is under the direction of Mr. Ben Carroll. A few years back, I asked our guest speaker, Colonel Jim Smith, to give some advice to our students. We met in the auditorium, and I told him to give us some advice on how to be successful. Here's what he said: do exactly what is expected of you, and always take time to do a little bit more. Do exactly what is expected of you, and always take time to do a little bit more. These are very simple words, yet it is a code by which Colonel Jim Smith has always lived by. Colonel Smith started his military journey in 1969, where he was commissioned second lieutenant with the ROTC at Western Kentucky University. After helicopter flight school at Fort Walters, Texas, and Fort Rucker, Alabama, he was assigned to the Republic of South Vietnam as platoon leader, 101st Airborne Division. Colonel Smith flew what they call an HU-1 utility helicopter. In layman's terms, it was the Huey helicopter. He would drop into enemy territory, deliver troops and supplies to the battlefield. As he would pick up wounded soldiers, he told me stories of having to sit on his helmet during his takeoff to avoid bullets coming through the bottom of the aircraft. In 1976, he transitioned from active duty to the Kentucky National Guard. He ended his military career in 1994 after serving as both battalion commander and brigade commander in the 138th Field Artillery Brigade in Lexington, Kentucky. In his 30 years of civilian work, he has served as a production manager, a treasurer and vice president at a bank, and he ended his career as a teacher. 10 of those teaching years was spent right here at what was then known as South Junior High. His wife, Sherry, was also a teacher. He has 2 daughters, Candace and Ginger, and 3 beautiful grandchildren. Give it up for one of my heroes, retired United States Army veteran, Colonel James L. Smith. I couldn't wait to do that.
Thank you, man. I'd like to thank your principal, Mr. Rush, for giving me this opportunity to speak to you today. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and of course, students of South Middle School, welcome to the Veterans Day celebration. It's a privilege for me to honor a very special group of Americans today on Veterans Day. As a retired colonel in the United States Army, I cannot think of a better place to be than right here with you. This is not my first time at South Middle School, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. I reread your mission statement here at South, and it kind of goes in line with what we do in the Army. It states that South Middle School is to provide a strong academic and social foundation within a safe and nurturing environment, and it continues so that all students can reach their maximum potential. I hope every student here knows that. That's what your school is for. Students, always remember this is your school. So always try to be a part of something positive, a member of the South's team. The Army has a creed that all soldiers are required to know. It is called the Soldier's Creed, and it goes something like this. I am an American soldier. I am a warrior and a member of a team. I serve the people of the United States. I will always place mission first. And there are other I ams, but it ends like this. I am a guardian of freedom of the American way of life. I am an American soldier. I know I'm not here to recruit anyone and to join the Army. I prefer that every one of you finish high school and go on to college. However, if you don't know what you want to do after finishing high school, the military is a great place to start, and you can still work towards a college degree while serving your country. Now listen, I know a lot of you students would rather be on Instagram, Snapchat, texting, TikTok, or playing Fortnite, as I find that's what my grandson likes to do.
or any of those other social media programs than listening to an experienced soldier like myself talk to you. But if you'll give me just a few minutes, I think I can show you that celebrating Veterans Day isn't just for old folks. 30 years ago, in August of 1989, I began my teaching career as an industrial technology teacher in this basement, right under this floor. Many days, many nights, weekends were spent teaching students. During the day and after coaching football in the fall, coaching girls basketball in the winter, coaching track in the spring. Is Mr. Rush? My principal kept me busy. South Middle School's Veterans Day was happening then, and it continues to grow each year. It's been an honor and a privilege to be a part of that since its beginning. Like many places across the country, each year at this time, November the 11th, people gather to remember and honor those men and women who served or are currently serving our great nation. While this is the correct and honorable thing to do, we must never forget to recognize their families. A point. When I was in the Army, my wife was in the Army. She just didn't wear the uniform. She moved with me all around the world. She kept the home together while I was gone. Many of you students here at South know what I'm talking about, and this is on a personal level. I would like every student who has a family member who is serving now or who has served in the military to please stand. Thank you. As they and so many in this gym know, freedom is not free. We enjoy true freedom in this country because for over 200 years, men and women, like those seated here in front of me, bravely and selflessly paid the price with their blood, sweat, tears, and even their very lives. Excuse me. In 1961, in his inaugural address, President John F. Kennedy challenged all Americans with this now famous quote, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country?" In 1961, I was a freshman in high school. Now, I am a baby boomer in the truest sense. I was born the year after my father returned from fighting in World War II on the European front. He, like all of my uncles, fought in World War II to protect our freedom and way of life. My mother was his greatest supporter and served the youth in her community as a teacher for 40 years. I grew up with great examples of service to others, so President Kennedy's challenge was very meaningful to me. Throughout high school, I considered how might I rise to meet that challenge. Finally, with my decision made, I enrolled in Western Kentucky University and the ROTC program. That decision brought me to the level of colonel, living around the world, learning to fly helicopters, shoot large artillery guns, a year in the jungles of Vietnam, and developing many friendships that have lasted to this day. I've recently gone to two of my friends since the 70s, funerals at Arlington Cemetery. My friends were honored that day. They never asked to be a member of a special class. They just wanted a shot at the American dream that they fought so hard to defend. Most Americans profess to truly love our veterans, especially at gatherings like this on Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And while their feelings are usually sincere, it is important to remember that veterans are defending us 365 days a year. The heroism that has been demonstrated time and again by veterans from the American Revolution to the global war on terrorism is something sometimes unnoticed by those of us who enjoy the security that their sacrifice has provided. We have 2 Medal of Honor winners from Henderson. They are Private Luther Skaggs and Sergeant Major Gary Littrell. These folks prove the idea of doing what is required of you and then doing a little bit more will help you achieve the goals that you set. If you visit the courthouse downtown, you can see a display of these 2 heroes. Another Medal of Honor recipient said, "The joy comes from recognition of us doing our jobs as soldiers on distant battlefields, but is countered by the constant reminder of the loss of our battle buddies. My battle buddies, my soldiers, my friends, and yes, I've lost several battle buddies. This attitude is not hard to find among our veterans. They will never forget the sacrifice of their friends, and neither will the Gold Star families. These people have to cope without the embrace of their loved ones. Students, ask your teachers to explain to you what a Gold Star family, Gold Star mother, Gold Star family is. Our nation owes a great debt to its veterans. Service expands every decade and continues every day of this country's existence. Through untold courage and sacrifice, American veterans have secured the liberty which is the Founding Fathers sought to establish here in this new world. Whenever and wherever this nation has called, in times of darkness and danger, as well as in times of peace and prosperity, American veterans have been there. Veterans have ensured your right, students, to travel freely all around this great country, to do things like having access to the internet, the ability to go to movies, play sports, attending sporting events, go to a concert, or just hang out with friends. In fact, this very school building stands because of the sacrifice of our veterans. I guess you could say that veterans made homework possible. All right. We can argue over how positive all these freedoms are, but there's no denying that the contribution of our nation's veterans have played a big part in making the United States of America the greatest country in the world. And as this year we have been celebrating America's veterans with a special day for 90 years. This Veterans Day, and for the past 18 years, our nation has been at war. I recently read at the militaryfamily.com, that's militaryfamily.com website, that military children born after 9/11, 18 years ago, and students, you were born after that these military children have never known a time when one or other of their parents were not at war. What a sad fact to face in this 21st century, in the land of the free and the home of the brave. But maybe that is what keeps us free and brave. The blood of military sacrifice and veterans. We can continue to fight and defend our freedom and combat terrorism. This calls for us to honor and celebrate both these veterans whose service is recorded in the history of past conflicts, and recognize our current warriors who add to our nation's rich history every day. We owe our nation's veterans a debt we can never repay. We can and should remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us. We must honor them with deeds, not just words. So how do Americans, how do you students properly thank the veterans this day? It could be as simple as thanking a veteran for their service. But that's just the beginning. Americans thank its veterans by living their lives and enjoying America's greatness. Americans thank veterans by taking full advantage of all the rights that were defended. Before you know it, students, you're going to be adults. Vote in every election. Write letters to the editor of the paper. Volunteer your time for a worthy cause. Fulfill your jury duty. Be a volunteer firefighter. Mentor a child. Represent your country while abroad. Ensure you are registered for the Selective Service, and business owners, hire a vet. Those who are in today's military face a world that is filled with change and challenge. As they are thrust into the boiling cauldron of war and conflict, we must care for them and their families. We have an obligation to do so. We are here to honor our heroes, to look at all of their achievements, their courage, their dedications, and to say thank you for your sacrifice. We are in the midst of patriots and the family and friends of those who serve nobly. One other thing is to at least consider serving your nation in the uniform. Live your lives and be good American citizens. Then all veterans will be proud to know that their sacrifice was not in vain for you students. Thank the veteran by being a productive citizen. We look at the Middle East today. We know there's a large, dangerous group of committed fanatics that want us dead. And while ISIS and Al-Qaeda and other terrorists may lack the conventional weapons that Nazi Germany or Imperial Japan, they are every bit as evil in their intentions. Those who defend us from our enemies must be supported, whether their service was in Baghdad, Beirut, or the jungles of Vietnam. We need to service veterans as they have did their service for us, even when the guns have temporarily been silent. Homelessness is another issue. It affects veterans disproportionately. Too often, today's tattered citizen on the street was yesterday's toast of the town in a crisp uniform with rows of shining medals. This is hardly the thanks of a grateful nation. We can do better. We must do better. Historians have said that Dwight Eisenhower, our 34th president, was prouder of being a soldier than he was of being president. And while relatively few veterans ever reach the rank of general, pride in one's military service is a bond shared by nearly all who have served. Many of you here today have borne the burden and experienced the fatigue of waging war in order to bring about peace. To you, I say thank you. Thank you for setting the example that inspired me and my peers to raise our hands in voluntary service to this great nation. That shared service joins us together like no other bond. The camaraderie we share in military service helps define us. I can honestly say the time I spent as a member of the United States Army is the best of my life. Even after I left the Army, it has stayed with me and will define me till the day I die. Roughly 1% of our population serves in the military. 1%. Consider the impact that 1% of individuals has had on the world, defending freedom and protecting democracy. Winston Churchill once said, now I want you to listen very close to this. Winston Churchill said, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." For all those veterans here today, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. I share the pride you feel in being able to count yourselves among that 1%, the greatest military in the world. For all those not in the military, thank you for choosing to share this special day and show your support of our heroes, past and present. Veterans Day and every day, I am reminded that we are the land of the free because of the brave, our veterans. We should insist that America remains the land of the free, a land where patriotism trumps politics, where the American flag is displayed proudly and frequently, and where military veterans are society's true celebrities. I would like to leave you with a challenge, students, very similar to President Kennedy's. This is for you veterans also, as well as the folks of South Middle School. Stop asking what else your country can do for you, and instead ask yourself, what can I do for my family? What can I do for my community? What can I do for my country? What can I do for my school that will make this a better place both now and for future generations? Hurrah!
Thank you, Colonel. And now, the choir, under the direction of Randy Wilkerson, will sing "God Bless the USA." The next part of our program is called Marches of the Armed Forces. Our South Middle School band, under the direction of Mr. Ben Carroll, will play the anthems of every branch of the military. When they play the branch in which you served, veterans, we want you to stand proud. Students and guests, we want you to participate also. I asked the students, their assignment for this weekend was to find out what branch of service that their relatives and loved ones served for. So we invite our students and our guests, when you hear the anthem, and I will mention them before he begins, when you hear that anthem, please stand and remember that relative as we honor our veterans. Mr. Carroll, take it away. The United States Marines. The United States Army. The United States Coast Guard. The United States Air Force. The next part of our program is called the Missing Man Roll Call. In all of our wars and battles throughout American history, after a battle, the soldiers and servicemen and women would come back to camp. The commanding officers would say a roll call to see what soldiers and servicemen and women still remained and which had fallen in the line of duty and the line of service. In today's program, it is a symbol of that battlefield. And so as we say these names, we will remember those who are no longer with us, whether they died on a battlefield or they are no longer with us and they are deceased. Battalion Commander Cadet Jolie DeVitro will come and execute the missing man roll call. Cadet Hayden Wallace will be on the bell. Again, veterans, if you're here, stand loud and proud and let us know that you're here. Those that are no longer with us, cadet will say their name twice. And after the name is said twice, the bell will ring. And we will remember that veteran.
Sergeant Major Vic Rosentrader.
Here.
Colonel James L. Smith.
Here.
Jermaine D. Pointer.
Here.
Preston Martin Melton. Preston Martin Melton. Mayor H. Carter.
Here.
Glenn Hawkins.
Here.
David Mason Johnson. David Mason Johnson. Nicole Barnhill. Charles Lynn Crabtree. Charles Lynn Crabtree. Jeffrey D. Fambro. Jim F. Clark.
Here.
Wayne Allen Fedors. Wayne Allen Fedors. Timothy B. Williams. Caleb J. Hanley. Gary W. Grossman. Jackie Williams. Jackie Williams. James N. Kitchelow. James Donald Cusick. Robert Styslinger. Robert Styslinger. Rustin Bargo. Donald Courtney. Donald Courtney. Gregory L. Bays. Daryl W. Melton. Blakeman. Eric Blakeman. Gilmer H. Thomas. Gary E. Russell. Obi Todd. Obi Todd. John Daughtry. John Daughtry. Johnny L. Williams. Brent Melton. Glenn Roberts. Glenn Roberts. Carl E. Grossman. Philip Dixon. Ellis Eagleston. Robert J. Miles. Robert J. Miles. Benjamin A. Urbanek. Benjamin A. Urbanek. Barry J. Russell. Jesse Collar. Joe Atkinson. Joe Atkinson. Elliot Myers. Francis Shelley Pittman. Francis Shelley Pittman.
Our program is very close to the end. Before I let everyone go, there's a few recognitions that I would like to have. These displays and the letters that our students write our veterans All of that takes a lot of time. And this weekend and all of last week, we had a lot of volunteers. We had folks here all weekend long. And our head person who makes this happen from a nuts and bolts, grinded out perspective, her name is Vicki Druin. Come on up, Vicki. They want to see you. Where are you? They want to see you. Miss Druin, she has been retired from South Middle School for, I think, going on 6 years. Is that correct? 4 years, sorry. She's been retired for 4 years, yet she comes back every year because it is her genuine commitment to the veterans. She keeps coming back for you, and very difficult for her to do that. So at this time, I would like to recognize the folks who were here all weekend long for us, the adults and the kids. We had high school students, we had college students come. Could you stand to be recognized? Where are they? Right here. This was a lot of our adults that helped us all weekend. Thank you so much. Our final recognition, I want to, one more time, Colonel Jim Smith is very special to us. He is on our committee every year. And I told you that story when I introduced him. And I tell everyone all the time, we're not just a Veterans Day school during Veterans Day. Or Veterans Day, we're a veterans school year-round. Many of those, what you see in the lobby, the displays and things we have on the wall, we make sure we don't take those down. And Colonel Smith has been dedicated to our program for years. And so I wanted him today to come talk to you, because once you leave our lobby, he talked about in his speech giving that lasting impression. Well, he has made the lasting impression on us, because the very simple words that he gave us, do what's expected and always take time to do more. We were so into that saying that those are the words that we live by now. And we call it the Bulldog Way. And it's a sign that's in our lobby. So Colonel Smith he's given us those words to live by, and we really appreciate that. So at this time, we have a gift, a token of our appreciation to Colonel Jim Smith. As we close, the students who won the trophies, we would like for you to meet down here. We're going to take a picture of you. And veterans, that concludes our program. Thank you for your service. Enjoy your day. You're dismissed.